What's up, everybody? It's your boy Keith coming at you from the dungeon. Just doing a little coaching for squats. Just looking over little problems, things like that. Things that might hurt us or set us back, and also looking to reinforce the good stuff. So here I am just warming up. So far, everything looks good. Just a couple of little things I might kind of help you with. Some of the things in a good squat, as far as at least a powerlifting squat, you want to make sure that you get your knees as vertical as possible. Wow, that's a horrible vertical line. But yeah, you want to get them as vertical as possible. A lot of folks you're going to see, instead of this vertical, and I've got pretty decent there. I mean, my knees are barely coming forward. And you'll unfortunately notice on these lighter weights, I do a really good job. When the weights start getting really heavy, you're going to see more of this forward motion, a more Olympic style squat, and your knees are going to be angled more like that. Your knee will be, instead of back here over your foot, it's going to be up here over your toe, or maybe even more forward of your toe. And that's something that you don't really want to do, especially when you're doing tons and tons of weight, because it works against you for leverages, as well as generally a person's hips. Your hip flexors here through this area are much stronger than what your quads are going to be able to really do. So that's something to think about. I mean, yeah, if you're a bodybuilder, go right ahead, man, and do your Olympic type squats. That's something that's going to benefit you because it's very quad dominant. And that's, squats are something that you're really looking at doing to boost your quad size. Another thing here is I do more of like a low back squat. So I've got the bar way down here instead of up here on my traps. On top of my traps, I've got it down below my traps. And that actually allows me to be a little bit more leaned over, which actually allows me to sit back further in the squat. So that's basically just because I lift a lot of weight and a lot of heavy weight. And the way you want to do that is to get, your torso a little lower than a more upright Olympic squat and be able to lean back. When you're able to lean back here in the squat, that's going to allow you to do a lot more weight. But yeah, let's go ahead and roll forward with the footage. I'm basically just doing some warm-ups here. I think I went up to 505 was my goal for this night. And basically doing the same thing here. Here's 405. Now one thing with my depth, we'll take a look at my depth. That looks right about there, looks to be about the deepest part of my depth. And if the top of my knees here, you're probably going to be looking at about there. It looks like my hip crease, which in somewhere around there. I'm maybe not as quite as deep as I should be. Like if you look at this bar here, kind of judging that as your flattened level, I'm just barely to that point where I should be all the way down and deep in that squat. And we'll see how that kind of goes with my other lifts here. Now this one is, what is that? That's about 455. 405 plus 50. Yeah, so 455. Let's see how I do on that. So yeah, let's go back. That was maybe, no, that's about the same. I could have went just a little bit lower on that one. And that would have been a little bit better. Couple things. Notice the knees not super forward here, but they are a little more forward than they were earlier. That's kind of a problem there. I need to be able to get a little more strength in the hips so that I can settle back into this squat a little better. When you see this bar starts getting a little more weight on it, I have a tendency to shift forward. And unfortunately, well, I guess fortunately for me right now, I have large quads, so That's kind of a strength, but what I'm basically working towards is the future when I want to try to get up in the 600 and 700 pound squats. You know, I'm really going to need to increase this hip strength. And unfortunately, that means that I'm going to rely less on the quads and more on the hips. So I need to be getting further back in this squat. And I'm doing okay. I'm getting way better than I used to be. You know, every day you move one step forward, and that's what I'm doing. Um, but yeah, that's just something that I need to work on. So yeah, that was a pretty okay depth. And then this next one, I think this was the 505. Let's see how I do on that. Oop, let's look. Well, looks like I did a little bit better there. See? A little bit better on the depth there. Not, not as perfect as I would like. But if we're starting there, see, I'm about there on the hips. So I'm almost to parallel. Now, granted, either one of those squats in most federations would totally pass. But it's always better to train deeper and to get that strength in here. Now, for some reason, what you're going to see here, I was just having an off night. And I think, looking at it, I think this was probably a problem here. Look at how forward my knees are. I mean, dang, dude. The tip of my knee there is almost over my toe. So that's kind of a bad situation, because I basically just did a quad squat when I came up out of the hole. And I'm not going to lie, this whole entire night I was not feeling good. So for some reason the weights were just, real heavy. I don't know. It can be a lot of things, man. Sometimes if I don't get enough meals in before it's time to lift, I'm really, as y'all probably know, I'm real bad about not sleeping enough hours. All those things can really add up and cause problems. But yeah, let's see what ultimately happened. I had good depth, but when you watch the rest of the play, whoa, I have a little problem, and yeah. I dumped it. Woohoo, yeah, embarrassing, but whatever. And then we have a little funny little face here Landon was making. He was like, whoa, what is going on? Yeah, well, number one, he was being a bad spotter. He should have been up underneath there helping me. But I'll be honest, I wasn't watching at the moment. I wasn't really watching him at all. I was concentrating on the lift. So I really didn't get it. It sucks, but we got a few things to take away. What? Knees too far forward. Not sitting back in the squat. Also my depth. I could work on going a little bit deeper, just to be safe. So that's the three takeaways that I'm taking away from this. But yeah, I think overall, I hope that helped you guys out, gave you some ideas and some things to think about in your own squatting. And hey, I hope to see you guys do some really heavy squats. So all right, well, I'm out. Y'all have an awesome one. Later.